Welcome back to ABC English Story. I want to share a story about hope, betrayal, and quiet strength. It is the story of David, a young soldier who faced a painful truth while serving overseas. Many of us think that distance brings us closer to our true feelings. But for David, distance brought heartbreak. David was 28 years old and serving in Afghanistan. He loved his country and his family. He felt proud in his uniform. His marriage to Anna had been happy when he left. He thought they would write letters and grow closer. Then, one afternoon, his world changed with a simple email. He opened his laptop after a long day on patrol. The sun was low, and the desert was still. He saw an email from Anna. He had just finished reading a report about a mission. He expected a sweet message from home. But the subject line read, "I'm sorry, it's over." He clicked to open it. His heart pounded so hard he felt it in his throat. The email said she was filing for divorce. She wrote she felt lonely and had to start a new life. Then came the next shock. She emptied their joint bank account. She took all their savings. David sat in his chair and read the words again. He felt cold inside. His hands trembled. He felt crushed, as if a heavy stone lay on his chest. He looked around the small barracks room, but it did not feel real. It felt like a dream he could not wake up from. He put on his headset and called his best friend, Mark, also in the base. Mark answered with a cheerful voice. David could hardly speak. He let his headset fall to his shoulder and pressed the speaker button. He whispered, "Mark, I need help." Mark came over and sat beside him. He did not ask questions at first. He just offered a strong shoulder. David explained what had happened. He said he felt lost and angry. He did not understand why Anna did this. He asked, "Did she ever love me? Was I not there for her?" Mark listened quietly. He knew David was a good man. He knew David had always tried to be a good husband. That night, David could not sleep. The silence of the desert felt heavy. Each star in the sky felt like a lonely eye. He thought of Anna and their small apartment back in Ohio. He thought of how they used to laugh in the kitchen. He thought of simple moments, cooking dinner, watching old movies, talking about dreams. In the next few days, David's routine continued. He woke up early, ate a quick breakfast at the base mess hall, and joined his unit. Yet, he felt distant. When his team planned missions, his mind wandered. He stared at the email on his laptop like it held all his answers. He wondered why Anna did not call, why she waited weeks to write. He felt angry some days, and sad other days. He did not want to show weakness in front of his team. He did not want them to see him cry. He thought, "I have a duty here. I must carry on." He put on his helmet and went on patrol with a forced smile. He used simple phrases, "Yes, sir," and "I copy." He kept his head low. One evening, his unit planned a night patrol. The moon was full. They drove out to a small village at the edge of the base. The village was quiet, as though people slept under a blanket of fear. David led the convoy with his rifle ready. He thought of Anna's email again. He clenched the handle of his rifle a bit too tight. He felt each bump on the road in his bones. They reached a checkpoint. A small boy ran out, holding bread. His eyes were big and curious. David knelt and took the bread. He smiled and gave a small gift of candy in return. The boy ran back to his family's home. David watched him go. He felt a twofold pain: his own loss, and the boy's uncertain future. That night, after the patrol, David sat alone in the guard tower. He looked out over the desert, with only the wind as company. He thought of his wife, and felt tears well up. He closed his eyes and whispered, "Why did you leave me like this?" He felt so small under the wide sky. He pulled a small notebook from his pack. He began to write. He wrote, "I feel broken." He wrote about how he missed the warmth of a hug. He wrote about how the email felt like a knife twisting in his heart. He wrote about dreaming of home but fearing to return. He wrote until his hand ached. The next morning, he gave the notebook to Mark. He said, "Please keep this safe." Mark nodded, putting it in his jacket pocket. He said, "We will get through this together." David wanted to believe those words, but his mind felt like a stormy sea. He felt waves of doubt and sorrow. Back in Ohio, Anna changed the locks on their apartment. She packed their things and moved out. She did not leave a note on the fridge. She did not answer David's calls when he tried to reach her after the email. She felt guilty, but she did not know how to say no. She felt like David was never really there, even when he was home. Back in Afghanistan, David wrote letters to Anna, hoping she might see them later. He wrote, "I miss you, and I wish I could have been there for you." He wrote, "I hope you find peace." He folded each letter and left them in his bunk. He knew they might never reach her. David's unit finished their tour. It was time to return home. He felt nervous about seeing Anna. He did not know what to expect. He worried he would see her on the street and she would look away. He worried he would see her and she would smile. He did not know what feeling would hurt more. He landed at the airport in Ohio. He looked around for Anna, but she was not there. He placed his bags in a taxi and went to their old apartment. When he arrived, he saw a note on the door. "We have moved. Please do not come here." His heart sank again. He felt the floor drop beneath him. He entered the empty apartment. It smelled like dust and memories. He walked room to room. Each room held a picture on the wall. The photo above the couch showed them smiling at their wedding. He touched the frame and remembered their laughter that day. He wondered if that laugh was gone forever. David felt trapped by his own feelings. He knew he had to rebuild his life. He called Mark and asked if he could stay at Mark's place until he found work. Mark said, "Of course." David went to stay with his friend's family. They welcomed him, offered him meals, and let him sleep on the couch. He tried to find a job. He sent resumes to local companies. He visited a small coffee shop and asked if they needed help. The owner hired him part-time. He felt grateful for the work. He made coffee, cleaned tables, and smiled at customers. Each simple task felt like a step toward healing. At night, David read books about veterans who found new paths. He read stories of soldiers who learned to paint and write. He read about men who started nonprofits to help war orphans. He wondered how they found the courage to begin again. One day, he walked in the park. He saw a group of children playing soccer. He saw a young girl trip and fall. He ran to help her. He helped her stand up. She smiled and said, "Thank you." In that moment, he felt a small warmth inside. He felt like he could help again. He decided to volunteer at a local veteran center. He wanted to talk to other soldiers and share his experience. He wanted to say, "You are not alone." He wanted them to know that even when life breaks you, you can find a way to carry on. He signed up and began to help with workshops about life after deployment. In one workshop, he met Anna's brother, Robert. Robert said, "I heard what happened between you and Anna." David nodded and said, "I have no hard feelings. I just want to move on." Robert said, "Anna is sorry. She did not know how to tell you in person." David paused. He felt his heart twist again. He asked, "Is she happy?" Robert said, "She is doing better. She found a job and started therapy." David did not ask for more. He just said, "I hope she is okay." Later that week, he sat with other veterans and shared his story. He talked about the email that broke him. He talked about losing his savings. He talked about feeling worthless. He talked about finding hope in volunteering. As he spoke, he saw tears in the eyes of the other men and women. They noticed how he did not blame Anna. He noticed how he did not give up on life. He noticed how he used his pain to help others. His story gave them courage to tell their own stories. One afternoon, a reporter came to the center. She wrote a short piece about David's journey. She called it From Broken to Brave. The story made it to the local newspaper. Some people read it and recognized David. They offered him small jobs, tutoring, speaking at schools, helping other veterans find work. David began to realize that life was not just about Anna or the email. It was about what he chose to do next. He decided to start a small blog for veterans and families facing betrayal and challenge. He wrote simple posts: how to find hope, lessons from my journey, and why kindness matters. His words connected with many readers. In time, he saved enough money to move into a small apartment of his own. He painted the walls light blue. He bought a small plant for the windowsill. He felt a sense of peace when he came home each night. He still missed Anna sometimes, but he did not feel broken anymore. He felt intact with purpose. One morning, Robert called and said Anna wanted to meet. She was in town for a therapy session. She said she wanted to apologize properly. David felt a mix of fear and relief. He said yes, and they arranged to meet at a quiet cafe near the park. On the day of the meeting, David felt his stomach twist. He sat at a small table and waited. When Anna walked in, she looked fragile but hopeful. She wore a light sweater and jeans. She sat down and looked at him. She said softly, "Thank you for seeing me." David nodded and took her hand. He said, "I'm glad you came." She looked down at the table and said, "I was lost. I felt alone and I made a terrible choice. I thought I needed to be free, but I didn't know how to tell you. I'm sorry for hurting you." Her eyes were shiny. David felt tears well up again. But this time they felt different. They felt like a release. He said, "I forgive you, Anna. That email hurt me deeply, but I found a way to heal. I learned that even when life breaks you, you can find new meaning." He looked at her and added, "I wish you well." They talked for a few more minutes about life, work, and dreams. They did not talk about the past in detail. They focused on healing. When they left, David felt a gentle lightness in his heart. He realized that letting go was part of moving on. That night, he wrote a new blog post titled "The Power of Forgiveness." He wrote, "I learned that forgiveness does not mean forgetting. It means choosing peace over anger. It means walking forward, not staying stuck." He hit publish and felt a calm wash over him. David's journey taught him that betrayal can hurt like a cut that takes time to heal. But he also learned that compassion and courage can heal wounds. He found that sometimes the strongest hearts are the ones that break and then keep beating. He discovered that life can offer a second chance, even when you lose everything. Now, he speaks at schools and veteran centers about his experience. He teaches simple lessons. Share your feelings early, ask for help, forgive when you can, and never lose hope. His story reminds us that life can be hard, but we are not alone. Every time David tells his story, he sees people nod. He feels their understanding and their own hidden pain. He knows that by sharing his own struggle, he gives others the strength to face their troubles. If you feel betrayed or broken today, remember David's journey. Remember that an email or a single event does not define your whole life. Remember that you can find a way to heal. You can choose kindness, even when others choose pain. You can build a new life, step by step. If this story inspired you, give us a like, share it with a friend, and don't forget to subscribe to ABC English Story for more meaningful content like this.